For long, her narrow routine begins to swerve when she runs into a former classmate, 17-year-old John Lewis.
Eileen remembered that John had a lot of trouble in school.
You too.
John was always in trouble, always fighting, being arrested, even as a juvenile.
But their budding friendship suddenly comes to a halt when he's arrested for assault with a deadly weapon and burglary and thrown into juvie. Over the next 2 years, Eileen has trouble getting back in the grind while still living under her dad's roof.
If someone has not been able to successfully navigate through some of the maturational phases in life, it becomes easy for them to get stuck in a certain rut, and therefore they're not motivated to move forward.
The 20-year-old endures the loneliness until the one who got away re-enters her life.
When John gets out of the youth authority when he turns 21, he hooks right back up with Eileen, and they're off.
This was someone that actually showed attention to her. While she had been alone, kind of trying to figure it and map it all out, here John was present.
As her reignited flame quickly becomes the center of her world, Eileen moves in with him and his loyal crew.
John lived in that apartment along with his half-sister, Robin Machucha, her boyfriend, Vincent Hubbard, Eileen, and Robin's 6-year-old daughter.
Like John, they're no strangers to the fast life.
Robin also had criminal record for burglary.
Vincent also had violence in his background as well as drug use.
So here we are at this apartment where everyone's got a criminal record except for Eileen. She's the odd person out.
Eileen settles in quickly with the proud misfits, who do everything but work.
They spent as much time as they could gathering money in any way that they could, going back to the apartment and getting drunk, smoking pot, doing crack, doing some heroin.
Without her father's rules overhead, proving herself game to her man's lifestyle is easy for the user.
So Eileen steps up her drug and alcohol use as time goes on, as a matter of influence by John, Vincent, and Robin.
They were a very close-knit group. She wanted part of that. She wanted to do whatever she had to do to be part of that.
When someone is so desperate to fit in with a certain group, they will adapt to that environment, take on the behaviors of that group in order to fit in.
Just days later, after the foursome spends their Independence Day weekend burning through their stash, John is ready for action.
John, with his raging hatred of society, he wanted to kill people. He wanted to exact his revenge on the rest of the world that, in his eyes, was doing so much better than he was.
I gotta figure something out.
The following night, 3 hours after sunset, her scheming boyfriend rides shotgun as Eileen drives them into the night.
John was on with a sawed-off shotgun, and they were looking for a nice-looking car. And the plan was to bump the car so that it would stop, and John would go up, and he would rob the individual who's driving.
They take a ride to the neighboring city of Monrovia, where John catches sight of 22-year-old Jose Avina in a shiny new truck, seemingly ripe for the taking.
And when they came to a stoplight, he instructed her to hit it hard enough where the driver would stop.
And Eileen makes impact with this other car, drives right into it.
Stay right here, I'll be back.
So Eileen watched John get out of the passenger side of the car and walk up to Jose's car.
Get out the car. Man, no. Get out the car.
Eileen is sitting there, still in the driver's side of the car, watching John, not knowing what's coming next.
Get out the car.
He tried to drive away. At that point, John just acted, and he just shot Jose in the head, killing him instantly.
John threw Jose's body out of the car, jumped into the driver's seat of Jose's car, and drove off, with Eileen following him.
Before abandoning the stolen vehicle, they make off with the truck's stereo and flip it into drug money. Jose's body is found a short time later, but the sheriff's efforts to find Eileen and her man are fruitless, as the slayer and his girl tuck themselves away in bed. But it's a restless night for Jose's fiancée, who's flooded with the tragic news that her husband-to-be is dead, and no one is in custody.
There was really nothing, no leads to lead the police back to who actually did this. All they have is Jose's body, and later on they find the car abandoned with the stereo gone. There's nothing to really connect John and Eileen to this murder.
Bound by bloodshed, Eileen is more connected to John than ever before.
This changed the dynamic between John and Eileen in a tremendous way, because now Eileen is all in at the highest level. She's witnessed her man go out and commit a murder.
When two people commit a horrible crime, it now brings them even closer because they have a deep, dark secret that they're sharing together.
But the